Hello everybody, PlanetWalls here. We are back for episode number 77 of Spelunky. I had to start because we were pushing time, so that's why it was paused. This is daily challenge for 12-14. And then, right after this, we will play daily challenge number 12-15. That is an arrow trap. Boop! Alright, so, what am I missing up here? It doesn't look like anything great. Just a couple things. Becky, by the way, will be joining me shortly. I will happily take these bombs. Now, last time I played, a horrible thing happened. Ah! In one of these. Let's not let that happen again. Let's just spend a rope. Now I'm not as disappointed if this box contains ropes. But it didn't. It contained something better. Alright. Okay, so there's a puppy in there. We're not going to get him. Fuck him. Nothing else good over here. This is a climbing gloves run. So everybody's going to have climbing gloves. That's pretty cool. Climbing gloves are a cool item. Especially that you get caught on walls sometimes when you don't want to and then the ghost kills you. So there's that. Becky spent all day today hanging out at an exam, grading some things. That was cool. And then helped train some people in the self-defense class that she's been participating in. That's cool shit. Isn't that right, Becky?
I'm awesome. I can kick the ass of some guy that's 200 pounds.
She can kick a 200-pound man's ass. Actually, it's the man who's 200 pounds, not the ass.
Right.
I assume. Unless, I imagine a big man might have a 200-pound ass. That might be a hard person to kick, though. Ass kick.
Right.
Because if they're that big, they might be like some sort of robot, like a RoboCop.
Yeah, really it's not so much about kicking ass as it is just about getting out of a situation.
Well, that's fine then. And then I'm glad you can either kick ass or get out of a situation, whatever is necessary.
You only need to kick the ass in order to get out of a dangerous situation.
Right. I mean, the point isn't just to beat people up. I get that. Yes, that is clear to me.
And you're supposed to yell a lot prior to having to do that.
Like, give me back my purse! Give me back my purse!
Exactly!
Yeah.
You're supposed to yell a whole lot before you even go into defense.
Yeah.
You have to judge whether or not accurately you have to go into self-defense mode or not.
Yes. By the way, I picked... Oops.
But the cool part about this training is the fact that they're so realistic with it. And so the guys scare the crap out of you.
Yeah, and they say not very nice things.
They say horrible things.
I mean, that's the point. It's not like...
In order to get you adrenalized so that you still know you're not feeling safe. And if you don't feel safe, then you know that you can still be effective even though you don't feel safe at all.
Yes.
So, essentially, they say horrible things to...
Everything just fell right where I needed it to there, didn't
it? Try to distract you and to get you really adrenalized because, your brain shuts down.
When it's adrenalized, not just
when
whenever.
When you're adrenalized, yeah. The front part of your brain shuts down and you can't think very well. So if you're trying to do a bunch of taekwondo moves that are really precise, they don't work.
Yes.
So basically, they just teach you to use your gross...
Unless you're like a real pro.
Right. So basically, they just try to train your muscle memory into using all your gross motor skills.
Are any of you Spurg Lords experts in martial arts?
In order to work, yeah.
For some reason, I get the sense, Bladed Edge, that when you were a kid, your parents made you get to, like, green belt level.
Yeah. What's funny is that they stress that you have to just be so good at martial arts and have to be so precise that for most people, it's not very practical.
Yeah.
So, even though I think the instructors...
That was kind of a bad bomb.
These suited instructors that take all the blows, I think a lot of them are trained with martial arts.
Yeah.
But, so they have a lot more skills to draw from. But, in terms of the women that they train, I mean, they're basically just training them to, like, get out of a situation really effectively.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
Because you're not going to remember to, like, do some sort of fancy thing with your hand.
Right.
Or foot.
Yeah.
Or where in the knee to kick because it's such a, like, small area when you're, like, freaking out.
Indeed. The principle behind it is low precision moves that are reliable.
Really, they don't even need to be that precise. There's an eye strike, a groin strike, and a head strike.
Yes.
That sort of, in different situations, you use. When you're using knives and guns, or when other people are using knives and guns, it's a little different.
Yeah.
Because you just want to get away as fast as possible, but you're still pretty much building on the same moves.
Right.
So the point is, you can't really do much more than that if you're freaking out.
Yes, that makes sense.
And you don't want to flail, because that's not very effective either.
No, then you end up like this man.
Yeah, exactly. You don't want to...
Oh, God!
often doesn't
Ah!
work. Though, I guess, yeah. Yeah, because if they're really trying to get you, like, they can still, I don't know.
Probably do it.
Yeah, they still can probably do it.
Yeah.
So you want to deliver a blow that gets them down for a long time.
Right.
Including, like, it even works on women. Like,
Really?
groin strikes, yeah.
They work on women?
Yeah.
They didn't in King of the Hill.
No, they didn't, but that was kind of...
It's also fiction.
Yeah, it wasn't... The issue isn't... The groin strike isn't... It's why it's called a groin strike.
Yeah, and not like a penis punch.
I didn't say that. Yeah, but...
But it's not called a penis punch.
No. It's because not all... I mean, all men aren't assailants, but like... And it's all... Well, I mean... That's true, but also all assailants aren't men. That's really what I meant. So, what you're doing is actually, they teach you how to do it in such a way that the spinal cord is getting,
I like where this is going.
Is getting hit and kind of tapped and shoved up.
Shoved up?
Yeah, it's a very sensitive area.
Really?
Yes. Even in women. So, if you're, like, they show you how to hit in such a way that you have a really effective, I don't know how to say it, like you're really effectively moving them backward. You're hitting with so much force. And not with your foot either, because that doesn't tend to work. It's with your entire knee, and you propel them backwards and keep moving in. So yeah, it does work with women because it's a very just painful area.
Right.
Because it runs.
I mean, I can imagine it would be.
Because it runs up your whole spine.
Yeah.
Yeah. No one's invulnerable to it.
Right.
So that's what they teach. It's actually very interesting, especially the verbal component and trying to get you scared.
Yeah.
So
Well, I'm glad I was able to call you in here, talking about it.
Yeah.
You seem very excited and pepped.
Well, I am. I don't know.
What'd you get for dinner? Anything good?
I had a big lunch, but I didn't eat dinner.
Okay.
But
I'm having this dog for dinner.
sorry I spurged on that.
No, spurging is all right. I've got no spurging. You know, we're all spurg lords here.
Yeah.
And spurg
Yeah.
ladies.
It's relatively interesting.
All right.
But all the men have to take the basics course, which involves pretty much the same as the women's.
Okay, so I made a bad move, and the result was that I had to waste a bomb.
And then you can learn to disarm people.
That's pretty badass.
With guns. With knives, you don't really try to disarm them, you just try to get away.
Right. And that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because that's hard enough.
That class was awesome in the sense that, not to make light of knivings, because those are terrible.
Yeah.
But-
Nobody wants to make light of a knife
No.
thing.
Especially when there are multiple people. But that one was pretty much just get away as fast as possible. If you can't, how do you get out of a situation?
Yeah.
But what was good about that one was it was like, I think I said this before, they set up almost this like obstacle course.
Yes, you did talk about that.
Yeah.
And you did like a funny thing where
I
you
surprised
picked
the
up,
guy.
well, you picked up like,
An object that was basically, because you can, these suits they're pretty impenetrable in the sense that they really, there's some vulnerable areas, but like they're really good. And so the guys don't get hurt. So I picked up like the stick and started whacking the guy
that's
with
awesome.
a knife with it.
That's like a dream for a kid. I used to have dreams of
Yeah, and the stick
defeating attackers
the
with
stick-
weapons,
the
like
stick
pirates.
the stick was longer than the knife, which means that I had the benefit
That's
of...
what she said.
So I had the benefit of distance, which meant that he was like way out of my way, and he totally was surprised, right? Because they usually go down very choreographed.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't, toward the end they don't, like when you really get into it, they don't, but the night being one was funny because the guys had to be just as much on their toes as we did.
Yeah, because like all the shit could change any minute.
At any second, and they kept changing the doorway too. Like,
What do you mean the doorway? Like where in the room it was located?
They symbolized the doorway by two chairs, and so we would close our eyes, and before like an attack,
Yeah.
in order for everything to switch around, so we didn't know what things were, so we would have to think on our feet, and they would change the door. So we had to be present enough to be able to look for the door as somebody was coming for us with a knife.
That's kind of cool too.
Did you not know that?
Yeah, I guess you had mentioned that, but I didn't quite know what you meant.
What I meant was like seriously, it could be behind you, and
Yeah.
you thought it was in front of you because that's where it was like last time.
Yeah, but that's not how it works.
And you have to be mentally aware enough as you're trying to get this guy stabbing you away from you to find the door and get the hell out.
Yeah.
It's actually, I really liked the class because it was so, it made you, like, think on your feet. I don't know. Like, I really like
There's
that.
something creative about trying to get away from a crazy knifer.
I do not mean to make light of that, the knife thing.
Nobody said you were making light of it because something was...
There are some pretty terrible things we learned about
Knives.
knifing. I mean, we had to watch gruesome videos or, like, medicine videos, but...
Medicine videos?
Like, God, they showed, like, knife wounds, and they were, like, telling us what to do if you got cut and, like, your intestines started coming out. Like, to
God.
keep irrigating them. And,
Ugh.
like, basically to say I've just been stabbed, because that might be the last thing you say before you lose consciousness. And how much blood you would lose before it's the case that, like, somebody would find you, or, you know, how to, like, basically where you could get cut versus not cut in a way that would actually keep you safe.
Okay.
So, everything on the exterior of the body is good. Anything sort of more interior
Yeah.
has, like, arteries, right?
Right.
And that's what you really want to protect. So if you get a cut on the outside of your arm, it's not as bad as the inside. Outside the leg, that's fine. On the inside of the leg, there's actually an artery. For those of you in Game of Thrones who watch Game of Thrones, you should know this, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
No, because, what's his face? The guy who gets killed protecting Arya.
Yoren?
Yoren. Yeah, he has,
He gets like a million crossbow bolts in his body and he's still hacking people?
He has the knife and he pulls it out and he has it like right next to that guy's, that crotch area.
Oh,
and
yeah.
There's an artery right here. And if I nick it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're gonna bleed to death. And that's true, actually. We had to, like, pass around this, sheet that showed us where the major arteries were.
Yoren's awesome.
Yeah, I know.
At least in the show. I don't know what he's like in the books.
In the class, though, we had to, like, learn some basic anatomy.
Shit, I did not mean to throw that rope.
About where arteries were, so that we'd better protect ourselves when, you know, a scenario was going down.
Yeah.
And knowing which, you know, body parts could be cut and still be okay, and which ones couldn't. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
it would be bad. Really bad. And also checking our digits, that was part of it.
Really?
Yes,
because if they get cut...
Because oftentimes you don't feel it. But
Why did I
insofar as
connect over there?
you're trying to manipulate it such that you're not getting cut really badly. But you can, sometimes when you're trying to grab their hand, which is what you want to do, in order to make sure that you put pressure on the top.
to disarm them.
You don't disarm them with knives. But, like, the issue is, I mean, you can accidentally do it. But
But that's not the goal.
That's not the goal. So you put the knife, you know what I mean, with
Oh.
pressure, like with one hand on the bottom of their hand with the knife and one hand on the top, so that they can't really move it very easily. And they can't switch hands with the knife, right?
Yeah.
The problem is that if you get the knife as opposed to their hand, your fingers are getting cut with the knife, and oftentimes people will lose digits. So,
I've gotten more aggressive with shopkeepers,
yeah.
and it's been beneficial to me, I think.
Okay, cool. So I'll stop talking.
No!
But-
I'm actually... Uh-oh, I missed the jump.
Oh no, oh no.
I don't know what to do. Okay.
It should be, okay, that's, we already know he's doing.
Oh!
Oh, son of a bitch, AJ.
Climbing gloves!
One at the tree.
Get in the
Oh.
spikes, man!
Oh, man, AJ. Just go loot his stuff right now.
He's gonna come back.
Is loot a word? Or
Yeah.
Yeah. So sorry with my knife thing.
Oh, fuck. I really wanted to ghost this shit. Actually, might still be able to.
Losing digits is the worst.
I
I
imagine it would be.
Plus the fact that you don't feel it, because you have, you know, your body's producing basically morphine.
Yeah,
Or
like
opium.
opioids
Opium.
of some type.
Yeah, so you don't feel anything when you get cut. I know because I got injured in one of these classes, and I was bleeding all over my hand, and I didn't even recognize it until 5 minutes later.
That's spooky.
I, like, looked down, and there was all this red all over my hand, and I had not even, like, felt the thing. It's not spooky, it makes sense.
I didn't say it didn't make sense. It's just unnerving.
I love these classes.
They sound really fun and fulfilling.
I mean, they're scary sometimes.
They sound that way too.
But the problem is I know everybody now, so it's not quite as scary, so I'm not really sure about its effectiveness per se.
Now there's no longer any adrenaline rush.
Well, I'm like, okay, so I know all these instructors really well. So when, the guy comes in and he's trying to, like, play a character, like, there's not as much, like, transference stuff happening.
Yeah.
If you're from, like, a psychoanalytic perspective, you're not like, oh my god, this guy is, like, gonna kill me. Because now you're in a state where, like, you know the person.
Right. So it's harder to, like, imagine them as someone else. It becomes more like actors playing roles. Which is...
But you can't lose yourself in it as easily.
Right.
It's like your friend, you're going to see a play and your friend's playing this actor.
Oh, yeah.
And you're like, you did a really great job. But it's hard to divorce, your mind from that.
Yes.
So the more people I get to know and trust, the harder it is to, like... I'm sure it's still effective. But the harder it is to be, like, scared shitless. Where people who don't know them, like, don't, like, get much scareder. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, I really like having the confidence to know that...
You could kick someone's ass. If you needed to.
Only if I needed to.
Yeah. Ooh, there's black market here.
Really, I like having the discretion to know when it would be the case that it would be appropriate. That's actually the most powerful idea, component. It's not doing it, it's actually, like, knowing when it would be necessary to do it.
That's what's the most helpful in your experience.
Yeah, because it's hard to judge, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, people get really aggressive all the time, and they don't necessarily, I don't know. They don't necessarily, like, strike you, but at the same time, you don't know if they won't or not, so... There's a lot to be said about knowing when to employ or when not to employ.
Right.
Especially because most assailants are people you know.
Nice. I wasn't talking about assailants being people you know.
No,
That's not why I said nice. I said nice because I got the oven mitt. I'm just calling it the oven mitt now, by the way.
Yeah.
It's just forever become the oven mitt.
Yeah. But if you can verbally get the situation done, then
that's
the best.
preferable.
Right.
Alright, we're just going to start firing pot shots in here.
So there's my spurging.
Until I stop seeing the blood flow.
Have you stopped seeing the blood flow?
Yeah, but I kept shooting a little more anyway. Just like what they said in your class, right? Like, sometimes you get so lost in the moment that even though they're already down, you could, keep doing it a couple more times.
Yeah, sometimes you will keep accidentally kicking. Even though they've already gone down.
Yeah.
They've signaled that they're down. I guess it works in that sense. You are adrenalized enough to, like, not be totally aware that they're not coming back up. They're unconscious at that point.
Okay, let's get this bat. This bat is a fuckhead. Alright, the tiki trap took care of the bat. Alright, now,
Anyway.
to clean up everything here. This has so far been a very clean
I love
black market.
I love biopsychology. I think it's, like, super interesting. Is that what you call it?
Biopsychology?
Yeah. Psychobiology?
Makes sense to me.
Psychobiology? I'm not really sure.
It's just like psychology, actually.
Well, now it is. It didn't used to always be.
Oh.
It's like psychology now wants to see it as...
Oh!
Somebody put it this way, and I think it's the funniest thing ever. That, psychology would rather be at the bottom rung. No pun intended with what I just did. Psychology would rather be at the bottom rung of a natural science than it would be at the top rung of a social science.
Yes, that's true. That's, in my experience anyway, that's...
Yeah. They do present themselves
Oh,
that way.
fuck. Facing the wrong way, as always.
So when I took my intro psych course, I thought it was going to be all cool. Which is what I found psychoanalysis to be. It was, like, super cool stuff. About people who are weirdos and...
Like
abnormal
psychology stuff?
Yeah. But that's not actually taught that much anymore.
Right.
Like, the classes that I've seen at different universities don't really...
They don't do that.
No, what they're teaching you is more about, like...
If you're wondering what I'm doing, it's being a greed sack.
Brain mechanisms and, I don't know. It's more... There's some evolutionary psych that's not as biologically based, but... I don't know, I just remember learning a ton about dendrites and synapses and how certain drugs worked and conditioning, and what effect that had on the brain, and that's all fine and good. But I was just like, you know, if I'm gonna like learn this, I'm just gonna be a bio major, and then that's what ended up happening.
Right.
So we learned plenty about synapses and stuff in the biology degree.
Yeah, that's what you meant.
Yeah.
All right, come on, buddy. All right, good.
I learned what an MRI was. And I learned what the parts of the brain were in biology. I learned about pathways and endocrine systems when I took anatomy. I'm good.
Yeah, you don't need to do that shit anymore. You're done.
I don't need psychology. Screw that.
All right, I think I handled the Matic here pretty effectively, actually. Let's pop that. Okay, good.
I think having a science degree in addition to the humanities degree has been invaluable.
Oh, yeah.
Like, both of us have this.
Oops.
Both of us have a BS in biology. And, like, to be able to read academic articles in the sciences, well, so long as it's not, like, cell biology. That gets very confusing to me.
Right, well, I mean, not overly technical stuff.
Genetics and cell biology are very difficult.
Did I actually get all those gems up there? I'm going to assume I did. Let's go.
Things like epidemiological articles,
Yeah.
public health articles, even articles that are talking about, like, fermentation versus Krebs cells, like, stuff and cell function in that way. Like, all of those I can actually still read those. Evolution, like, articles on evolution.
Yeah, I can still read those. I'm going to pick this up.
I can't read ones that, like, we located gene I don't know what letter that is.
It doesn't matter. You made the right point.
532, as opposed to 531, and we think that this
We
is
found that the
significant.
allele for...
We found that three dopamine receptors, or 3 different types of dopamine receptors,
Ah, fuck. We
And
shot the
it
dog. I
might-
was trying to avoid that.
might slightly be responsible for different reward mechanisms. Actually, that one's pretty interesting, I guess.
Yeah, you're like, shit, this sounds cool.
But sometimes, especially with cell bio, I don't know what the hell they're talking about. And genetics, gene therapy is actually very hard for me to understand. But mostly it gives you a fluency, like with the
This level was really small.
yeah. And
You noticed that too?
Yeah, I did actually.
It was like really quick to...
At a macro level, I think it really how do I put it? I can read articles that are like at a macro level science.
Yeah, I understand. Like...
Don't require tons
Woo!
of specialized knowledge. So, plus it helps you think better.
You mean like knowing science in general?
Yeah, I just think you're reasoning in ways that you don't reason in the humanities. And both are really important. Like, the humanities is more like associative learning. Don't you agree?
Yeah, sorry. I do tend to think that is the case most of the time. Okay, so we spent a lot of bombs, but we got a lot of bombs. Should I really get this gold bar?
Yeah.
You're like, yeah. This will be the interesting part. Because when you get the skull, a ghost comes. Yeah, we'll just pick up these gems.
Yeah, I would say humanities is more to do with, like, linking things.
Woo!
And synthesizing. And, noticing fine details for sure. But for the sake of, like, synthesizing larger arguments. And
There's also a different focus on history.
yeah.
As
History
being
becomes-
substantive in some way.
Yes. Oh, no matter what discipline you're in the humanities,
Yeah.
history is super
Like that there's some value in knowing history, not just heuristic.
Yeah. We're in the sciences, it's more, how do I, it's so much less like...
It's a little closer to learning a trade.
Yeah, it's less, how is it gonna, existential? There's less at stake in the sense of, I mean, that's not entirely true.
I understand why that both feels right and why it kind of doesn't.
I mean, people get super
Oh my
pissed
God.
about, certain things. Especially, I'm guessing, physicians when they have,
Spring
like, lives at stake.
Spike shoes in the floor. We just picked up spike shoes, and there's another pair of spike shoes. So, we've got plenty of those. Alright.
But it doesn't feel as much like people are working out their own emotional crises in science as it does with the humanities. Like, humanities, it's like a veiled attempt to, like, work out your
You're
own...
like, oh, well, the reason I study this is because of what have you.
It's inherently interesting. I'm like, it's not inherently interesting to me. I'm sorry, Hinduism is just not inherently interesting to me. So,
I don't.
So, my thought is you definitely have a stake in... One of our friends who studies Buddhism, he's like, we're all just a bunch of the white people who study Buddhism are actually just a bunch of ex-Christians who got pissed off at their own religious tradition.
Mainly Catholics.
Yeah.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
And I was like, well...
Oh, God!
Fuck yeah. And he was the one to say it, but everyone knows it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or you're into theology and you really believe in your tradition, and you want to know a lot about it so you can, you know... have more of a grasp as to why you're saved.
Yeah.
Or if you're a Calvinist...
Or because you're worried you're not saved.
Or if you're a Calvinist, maybe you're not.
Yeah, you're doing it to work out your salvation in fear and trembling.
Fear and trembling.
Yeah. Alright, so we have been extremely successful ghosting the vault. This is not the right place for that.
None of that, by the way, was meant to be pejorative. And all of it is with the caveat that...
Oh, shit. I fucked it up anyway.
I do not know what it's like to be inside of a science graduate program. But I will tell you that as their labs are getting done, they play volleyball a hell of a lot in the middle of our courtyard.
That's true. That's
like
just a fact.
Slaving away. And
just like that Santa is white.
Yeah.
It's just a fact.
It's not. Like,
I know. That's what I was quoting the Jon Stewart Fox News thing.
I know what you're doing, but I didn't know if you were making fun of me.
I wasn't making fun of you.
Okay.
I was making fun of, not Santa either.
I was like, why would you put a parallel with what I
making fun
said?
of white people.
What I'm honestly saying is that, so the school that we're at, and our sort of home base, is right across from the science center. And the natural sciences. Like, so where they're doing cultures and, I don't know, different experiments, like... in cell biology or whatever. And because they're constantly doing experiments, you have to like wait with, you know, incubation times. Oh my god, AJ, that's
it wasn't the smartest move, but okay. We did okay there.
Just ghost the vault and get out.
Well, I already ghosted it.
I know, pick up the gems and get out. I thought ghosting the vault involved all the...
It does. That's the entire process. But there are a couple more gems up top.
Let me finish my story. So all the science people in the science building, which is right across from the building that we're in, we have windows with desks set up. So we're sitting there at the desk studying, and we're looking out the windows to the courtyard, which across from which is the life sciences building, biology building.
They look really beautiful, though. I love those buildings.
Yeah,
I suppose the architecture isn't nice, but I really love the engravings of a bunch of different...
They have engravings of a bunch of different animals.
Some of which are kind of obscure.
On the side of them, which is really cool.
We don't have any of that. Our building looks like a prison.
It has a bunch of labs in it, and you can always see and they have a volleyball net in the middle of the courtyard where we are, in a grassing area, and it's really nice. But like, it's not like we use it. But it's always the people who are in biology and science.
Right,
they're constantly playing volleyball there.
They're also younger.
And no, I mean, not necessarily.
They're younger in spirit.
They're definitely grad students.
Yeah.
And all of us in our department were like, we never are there. It's not like we ever like are participating in that or take over it. We recognize that it was probably set up by the biology grad students.
Oh yeah, there's no way our people in religion set up.
Yeah, while they were waiting for their labs to get done.
No way.
Because, like, you know, as an undergrad, you'd have to go in at weird times to check, like, incubation periods. They would make us go in at, like, 8 o'clock at night.
Yeah, you have to, like, go in on the weekends to make sure that you're, like...
It was irritating.
Sporozoa are flowering, or whatever.
But as a grad student in one department, looking at a grad student in another department, and watching them play volleyball, I'm like, wow, they're really healthy and normal.
And I'm jealous.
And I'm super jealous because they're playing volleyball right now as I'm writing a paper. Not like they don't have to do stuff either, but it does sort of elicit in me this irrational rage.
Wait, it's rage?
It's like, why do you get to play volleyball? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do.
I'm like, it looks like you're having a lot of fun there.
Having fun, you fuckers?
Exactly.
I bet if you had to do what I had to do, you wouldn't have fun. I'm choosing to do this for some reason.
I know, for some reason. But But it's also the case that, like, I'm sure they have to go and plug in numbers and do data analysis afterwards. So, I mean, you know, whatever. It's a trade-off.
Yeah. Or they have to touch things that smell bad and give them cancer.
That's true.
We don't have to do that. We just don't exercise.
Yeah, right. And we just play Spelunky afterward.
Yeah.
Which is kind of like playing volleyball, only we don't move.
It's better.
Exactly.
You could say.
You could.
You could and should.
You could and should.
Yeah. I think we're doing rather well.
I think so too. I really expected you to die by now.
I know. Because we're doing so well, I'm gonna ghost the shit. The mother shit. Yep.
So you're like, because I'm doing so well,
I'd like to throw it away.
therefore I would like to end it.
No, it's just like, hey, if I'm gonna take home the trophy.
Why not take home the trophy?
Did you just drop my chapstick cap?
Yes, I'm sorry.
You should be. That's a very valuable thing. If the cap is gone, the chap is gone.
I need to go get some food. I'll be back.
Okay. What are you getting? Are you, like, going to Burger King?
No.
Oh. I don't understand where you would go with that. Alright, so Ghosty is gonna go there. This, yeah, I think we can do this. Come on, buddy. Alright, now we zip up. Not like a dress or a coat. I meant we zip upward. Cool. So I haven't done this perfectly, but I've done pretty well ghosting this shit. So we're going to pick up this last one. There's something rather monotonous about ghosting, but it's kind of zen. No, it's not really zen at all. It's kind of difficult and frightening. Because it's very easy to make a judgment error, as Becky knows well and constantly worries I'll make. And it makes sense that she does, because I've made them in the past.
I'm not really worried.
Like, I don't really care that much, AJ.
Yeah.
That's really what it is. Alright. See, that was a judgment error that I was able to pull out of. Kind of like an unintentional pregnancy.
Whoa.
Why do you say whoa?
Because if they're already pregnant, how are you going to pull out except...
I know what you're saying. That's why I said it. Alright. Get down here, Ghosty.
Hold on.
I'm not talking to you, Beck. Let's get low. Get low.
Maybe
And go up!
do or don't need to unpack this for a second, but what did you mean, kind of like an unintended pregnancy we need to pull out? Like, there are 3 things that I think that you could mean by that.
Yeah, the pun didn't exactly work.
Can I tell you the 3 things that I thought?
Yes, please.
The first is the most literal sense, but then you wouldn't know if you're pregnant yet, so that couldn't be the case.
Right, like, I know what you're saying. You're like, if you're... Yeah.
If you already know you're pregnant, there's no way that the
pulling out is pointless.
Yeah, that's
It's a fruitless endeavor.
It can't be taken literally.
Yeah.
So it has to be taken metaphorically, right? So there are 2 other things that you can do.
There's the big head.
One is basically an abortion, right?
I didn't mean that.
And the second is basically you want to run away from the child and leave it fatherless.
Oh, I didn't think that either.
So those are the 3 that I came up with.
Wow, some of those are...
Well, what would you mean by it's like an unintended pregnancy? You're gonna pull out.
I meant to avoid it.
Right, and how are you gonna do that except for those 2 options?
Right, I got the time frame all wrong.
Okay, that makes
Yeah, like,
makes
it doesn't
more
quite
sense.
make sense. Nothing quite fit there. I really want the Kapala.
I really
Why
was
don't
proud of
have it?
myself to unpack your bad logic.
I'm glad you did, actually. That was quite enjoyable. Oh, okay, that's not what we want to do with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, the weight of that Yeti will make that gem fly.
Yeah.
Kind of like how this one's gonna work. Nice.
Today I proctored an exam.
Yeah, talk about that. You guys have taken exams. Have you ever proctored them? It's kind of bizarre to proctor an exam, because when you do it the first time, it's like you're not normally in that perspective, and you start like feeling all these things like boredom, like you can't understand how possibly anybody could be worried about this test right now.
Well, okay, it's interesting.
Dread about grading it.
It was a 3-hour exam, and the time actually went by really fast.
Yeah, it tends to. It's not boring.
Compared to what I thought it would be.
I see.
I think it was a lot because
Why did I do that?
The TFs were talking, not about like other things, but about the exam because they decided to switch the instructions in the middle.
Oh God.
Like we're gonna collect part of it, you know what I mean, at a certain time.
Yeah.
In order to make them stop working on it and to move on to their essays, and then they decided at the last second not to do that because it would be too disruptive to try to collect them.
But
and I already knew that, and my thought was like, who cares if they continue to work on their IDs, so they have less time in the essay. Oh well. You know what I mean?
I can see how you might want to expend some effort to make sure that all parts of the exam are decent.
I mean, no, because it's their responsibility. And
I agree.
Plus, we already made it. They had 3 hours, and they're like, this is really a 2-hour exam. This should be 2 hours. And they give everybody here at this school 3 hours to take the exams, I think.
Did they do this complicated sign-out thing?
Yeah.
When I proctored my last one, I drank so much coffee, I had to pee like 6 times.
I'll tell you. Yeah, I'll tell you about this. So it was like they changed we had to explain how the rules changed in the middle of the exam.
Oh God.
So I felt like we were talking in the microphone way too much for them to even get done.
I know. Then they're like sitting there listening, trying to figure out what the fuck is going on and whether it actually affects them.
Right.
Yeah.
The other issue is like going to the bathroom. They can go to the bathroom, but one of the policies
Sorry.
of the schools that you have to.
Only one person can go to the bathroom at a time? Did you do that?
No.
Even with your giganto class?
No. We didn't.
Okay, because if that had happened, it would have been.
But you have to sign in and sign out when you go to the bathroom, and with your name. But you have to bring your exam with you before you can sign in and sign out.
Yep.
Because you can't just leave it there for somebody to look at. But like. Students kept needing to go to the restroom.
Because it's a long exam, and they also drank a ton of coffee or like Red Bulls.
So students kept wanting to do this, so we had to make another announcement that was like, you have to bring your exam books if you're signing out to go to the restroom. So I felt like again and there's a microphone, so like that we're using.
Who? Don't tell me the name. Was it the head TF who had to keep going to the microphone?
No, we all did. All 3 of us at some point went to the microphone because.
What do you mean 3 of you? So you only had some of the class?
Yeah, but class was so gigantic they had to split us up into 4
different exam rooms. And you were in the science building?
Yeah, 4 or 5 rooms. So we were overseeing 80 people, the 3 of us.
Okay.
That's how big this class is.
Yeah, that's pretty big.
Right. So we took hour-long turns.
Yeah.
But the truth is...
Did you lurk around?
Yeah.
And act like a creeper?
Yeah, I walked around.
That's my favorite.
And then there are things that you don't think of, like before when you're reading instructions. Like the fact that because this is a long exam and it's a blue book exam, the students are like moving from one blue book to the other. Well, the problem is they're not closing their blue books as they throw them on the floor to move to the next blue book because they're frantically writing.
Yep.
And so I had to make an announcement of how they had to close their blue books.
Please don't leave your blue books open on the ground.
As you're moving to your next blue book and writing. So
I want to open up this hole.
Then I had to interrupt them again with that announcement.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So it just...
That's not a fun announcement.
I felt like, I was like, God.
Don't do this. Don't do this. Shit. Go! Oh, God! He almost just tried to have his way with me.
So at first I was just walking around telling people to close their books.
Yeah.
And looking at the aisles. And then it just was happening so frequently I had to make the announcement. I was like, man, these poor students just...
They can't catch a fucking break.
This is like every 15 minutes to half an hour they're hearing another new thing.
By the way, now you should do this with your blue book.
Right.
Yeah.
The funny thing was, okay, so all these rooms are attached by a back room. I don't know if you know this about the building.
Really?
Yes. And they actually have cameras in all these lecture halls.
What?
Yes.
Cameras?
There's like a security guard, like watching these...
The exams?
All the rooms in the building. And because our class is so large, we took all the rooms in the building. But they're all connected by a central, on the main floor, they're all connected by a central room.
That's really odd.
With a security guard, and he has access to every seat, basically. And so...
Every seat?
So if you go like go into the back room, you know what I mean? Which we were doing to like kind of take breaks.
Yeah.
You can see every student of every room taking the exams.
Fuck.
So it was like watching a security camera. And you could see everybody like frantically writing the entire class.
It's kind of funny in
It
like
was.
this perverse...
When everybody saw, like when we all took breaks and went back there to see it, we were all just like, oh my god. And the head TF was like, I know.
Well, we have a ton of health now, so there's that.
Yeah. But that was pretty interesting to watch.
Yeah,
To basically
sure.
be with the security cameras. I was like, whoa, man. So suspected cheating, you know, you could like
Did
catch
you
it.
suspect anybody?
I am not at liberty to say.
Okay, you're not even allowed to say that, whether you did or not.
I don't feel comfortable. I feel
Okay.
like I could be breaking some sort of code.
No problem. So,
Though I'm sure you can.
no, I know nothing. That's what you would say whether or not you suspected anything.
Correct.
At least as far as I'm concerned. Now we can't die, by the way. Or else things will be horrible. Okay. So, I'm just trying to ghost everything for maximum efficiency. Because if I'm doing well, why not, you know, do perfectly?
Yeah.
The perfect run.
I will say I did get excused
perfect
early.
run.
The perfect run.
Excused early?
Well,
Like from dinner?
the goal was to take all the exams back, sort them out.
Yeah.
And then not to grade them on our own, but to standardize our grading procedures
Yeah.
so that we knew what we were looking for with each question.
Okay, right.
But that was, of course, with lots of a big class, that takes a lot of time because there are a lot of opinions about what should
Right.
be the case. And basically, I got to be excused early because I live in a different area than most people do.
Where there was a snow
and there's
emergency.
a snow emergency here.
Would you believe we have snow emergencies? We don't live in fucking Alaska. You know,
Where you have to move your car. And because
is the car on the correct side of the street now?
it's odd numbered, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So like our side.
It's on. It's
Were there a bunch of other cars near it?
there's yeah. But
Okay,
there are
good.
cars on the other side too, so I was a little bit confused.
Really?
Yeah, it's by Burger King.
Okay.
I hope that's.
It's probably
the,
alright.
the other side of the street had even numbers, so.
Yeah. I think it should be okay.
Yeah.
You know what? We've done pretty well on this one. Let's GTFO.
What?
Get the fuck out.
No kidding.
And let's go ghost the mothership. We've already broken 500,000, almost
Great.
600,000
Great.
before even leaving the ice caves.
Well, don't jinx yourself.
Okay. The goal here
too
is to
proud.
kill the worst things as fast as possible.
So basically, one of my friends was like, hey, do any of you live in this area? Or I was like, I do. And he's like, well, because there's a snow emergency that starts at 2, so if you want to, like, you know, get any parking space at all, you'll have to move your car now. And I was like, wait, are you serious? And he goes, yeah.
Deadly serious.
And I was like, oh, you gotta be kidding me. Because I was so annoyed by the area we live in. They constantly send us texts and
Okay.
emails and phone calls about emergencies. I didn't know that there was actually a snow emergency today. So I got to leave early in order to make sure that my car was moved,
Yeah.
which was kind of awesome. Because I didn't have to stay all day and grade.
Right.
Which was... I was going to leave early anyway, but it was even better to leave earlier.
I mean, it sounds good. Anytime you can get home early for any reason, from anything, it's a good day.
Yeah. The problem
Is
is
that gonna kill that
I
fucker?
still have an entire
No.
bag full
Wasted
of
bomb.
I still have an entire bag full of exams to grade, where some of the other people might be done
Really? Just because they stayed and...
because they stayed and finished grading.
Alright, so now we're looking for shopkeeper.
I was
Okay.
pleased to see that one of my questions was actually on the exam.
Really?
Yep. I mean, they reworded it, but it was pretty clearly mine.
Good. Congrats.
Yep.
Was it a good question?
Obviously.
Are you proud of it?
Obviously.
Well, I know, but somebody else thinking it's a good question doesn't necessarily make it one.
That's fine. I thought it was a good question.
I'm just trying to murder all these little fucks.
Yeah. Don't kill yourself, though. Yeah. Snow emergencies.
Woo!
It was definitely slick outside when I was driving home. Like, actually really slick. You could slide. So they haven't put salt down quite enough.
I kind of want to not worry about that shopkeeper.
Oh, and I forgot to put our windshield blades up.
That's okay. That's not a big deal.
I know, but it's like something that's always so smart and I want to do. No!
Whoa!
No! AJ! Oh no!
92? I could have done so well!
Everybody did well.
Oh, God! If anybody's curious what the fuck just happened, it means it bounced off the force field in that other big alien, and I was actually paranoid about that, so I was trying to dodge out of the way.
But you know what? You were 92, and this is the end of this daily challenge.
We're actually, yeah, we're gonna break this into 2 episodes now, because that one was so long.
That was. But, you know, honestly, that's really good. 92, and the day is over. So you got in the top 100 for you know, the daily challenge of 12.
But I was the chosen one!
12/14, 2015.
I could have been first! I was the chosen one! Let's see, who else, how did everybody else do?
Well, you were pretty high.
Hang on. No, we don't want, we want, 12/14, and we want to change the filter. So, like, what were the highest scores? How do I change the filter again?
I don't know.
Oh, I have to go all the way up?
Why do you have this competitive crazy streak?
Well, I'm just curious, like, what the highest scores in this one were. To see if it was attainable or unattainable.
Like 750, 800, up to 800,000. Wow, 25 is already, wow.
Yeah, there were a lot of over millions on this one.
You've never
over 2 million.
You've never even gotten that, have you?
Oh yeah, I have. I've been up to 1.7 million,
but not 2.
No, I've never hit 2 million. So this guy.
Intense.
All right. Well, thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it. As does Becky.
Yep. Bye.